see by the dawn's early light.
9/11 Remembrance Day. Would they remember? Would they come? Might some even fly in long distance as they did that fateful week 10 years earlier? I'm Helen Reisler, the 9/11 president of the Rotary Club of New York. These were my concerns as we planned for a day to honor the heroes and mourn the victims on the 10th anniversary of that unprecedented terror attack on New York City in 2001. I wanted to bring together some of the wonderful people who stood up to this challenge in different ways and celebrate how we helped each other as well. Yes, they came. They remembered. The intervening years may have changed us physically and emotionally, but they did not take away our combined spirit. We bonded together once again in the sweetness of our special friendship and mutual respect, and some very unexpected and beautiful stories emerged.
And the home of the brave.
Welcome to the Rotary Club of New York, the host club of America, on the 10th anniversary of September 11.
Andreas was my rock. He was absolutely my rock. He was pretty new on the job. And what an introduction he got.
2 months. My name is Dr. Tony Daher. It is a deep honor to be here today, and I, first of all, just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for the support you've given us in the past. As it happens, I am the chairman of the Department of Emergency Medicine at the hospital, and it was my shift on 9/11. I was the doctor in the ER when the planes hit. And we took care of about 1,500 people that day. It was the largest disaster response in American history by one single hospital. We're one of the smallest hospitals in Manhattan. And the one thing I'll never forget is the fact that when everybody else was running away, the hospital staff was running towards the hospital to come in and help. People who weren't at work yet were jumping police barricades to come in. And in the aftermath of 9/11, it's, for those of you who were there, who live in that area, it's hard to remember how desolate it was, how the rescue operation went on for months, how we felt that downtown would never recover. And one of the overwhelming feelings I have as a memory is how alone we felt. And I think the Rotary Club came through when we needed it. You helped us rebuild, and we rebuilt our emergency department, as Dr. Lick described. We were able to keep it functioning, but it was pretty beat up after 9/11, and we doubled the size. We built the city's largest decontamination center to serve our community. The area was blocked out for 6 days after 9/11, and the hospital staff took food and medicine to people in the high-rises nearby. So we realized what a community resource we were. And thanks to your help, we were able to build a very large new ER with all the things we could possibly imagine, to buy a new ambulance. And over the years, as hospitals have failed in the area, St. Vincent's and Cabrini are no longer there, your help has helped us fill that need. And as Lower Manhattan has revived, it's now buoyant in many ways. It's astonishing how life will come back. You have helped us be part of that. And again, I just wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I want to thank Dr. Rosenberg as well, and Helen for always being with us. And here's to the future.
On behalf of the Rotary Club 29, the Rotary Club of Oklahoma City, it is my pleasure and honor to represent our members here today. We, of course, encountered our own disaster on April 19th of 1995. At the time, it was the most destructive act of terrorism on American soil. And until the events of 9/11, 2001, we had our own series of things to think about and deal with. For us, 1995 reminded us of how Rotary clubs are such a unique organization connecting people all over the world. There was an incredible outpouring of support for Oklahoma City in the aftermath of our disaster in 1995. And as a result of that, our club amassed we collected a significant fund which we were able to use to provide relief to family members of victims and survivors of that bombing. By the time our foundation was involved in those relief efforts, so were many members of our club in providing, in administering support for survivors of that horrible event. But by the time 2001 came around, our club had met, not just our club, but our community had met all of the foreseen needs of the immediate families of people connected with our disaster, which of course was a minor thing on the scale of what happened in 2001. So shortly after 9/11, our club, hearing about what had happened here, decided that we needed to do something very special. And through our own resources and through the resources that were made possible by Rotarians all over the world, 6 years earlier, we decided the best thing we could do with our fund was to send them to New York and Washington. And at that time, we had 4 delegates who came to a meeting here and delivered a check and delivered our good wishes. And it's my pleasure to be here again today to do the same on the 10th anniversary of this event. Helen, thank you very much. This is a reminder again to me and to all of the members of our club of the important role that Rotary plays in connecting people from around the world and responding with help where it can be put to effective use at a time of need. Thank you.
I consider it an honor to be here and to say a few words, as Helen Reisner has asked me to do. The thing that happened, the 9/11 tragedy, I saw it on television without realizing that my son was there. And when I realized he was there at that moment, I sort of lost it. I just almost didn't want to live. The Rotary Club came to my rescue. The chapter in Harlem, I started attending the club regularly. They listened to me, they comforted me, and they did some wonderful things. They put a plaque in the garden, Isham Park, where my son played all of his life, his growing up years and others. And there were 17 young men who perished with him at the World Trade Center. And the Rotary Club honored all those men with a plaque in the garden. And every time I see that plaque or pass by it, I think of the Rotary and what they did for me and for my well-being and my family. My children now live in Ireland. My son was married to an Irish lady, and when this happened, she moved back to Ireland. And only a week ago, I was in Ireland, and I was stunned to see my 14-year-old granddaughter kayaking in the Atlantic Ocean, and my 10-year-old grandson leaping from the pier into the water. The water is very cold there. And I think of what the Rotary Club meant to me during that period. It was a period of about 4 or 5 years. And it was my salvation, the support and the love that came from the Rotary Club members. Thank you.
I just wanted to add something. Mr. Reynolds' son, Bruce Reynolds, was a Port Authority police officer there. And at the time he was stationed at the George Washington Bridge. When he got the call, he rushed down to the Trade Center, and he was last seen covered with jet fuel, carrying a woman out of the building. He went back in, and the building collapsed.
Okay, thank you.
And thank you, Helen, for all you've done and for the inspiration you've been to all of us.
So very good that Mr. Reynolds did find comfort with us. He kept coming. And it's just a wonderful feeling to know when you feel lost that you don't have to be. I felt the same way after my husband passed away. I had been a member of the New York Rotary Club for quite a few years, and that was the last place that I was able to come to. I just felt I couldn't go because they always knew me as being so strong, and I felt so vulnerable. But once I got there, I can't tell you what a wonderful feeling it was to know that I had so much support, and I always have. And my club is just wonderful, the New York Rotary Club, and the whole Rotary world. There's just no other organization like it.
Hi, I'm Bill Ryan, a retired captain of the New York City Fire Department. I don't know what to say. I want to say thanks first to Helen, New York Rotary, and all Rotarians. You know, I know people came from all over the world. After 9/11, they were responsible for sending guys. I know we talk about how they did send guys all over the place. I know 45-something families went to Nantucket, and the Rotarians out there treated us like gold. I mean, I personally went myself. I remember Helen saying to me after we've been doing this for months, well, when are you going? When are you going? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't need to go. Send someone else. And my wife finally said one day, my wife Suzanne over there, and why don't we go? Why don't we go? And because we had kids and all in Nantucket. I've never been to Nantucket. And so I went. But guys went to Australia, Ireland, England, and they would come back and say, oh, man, you can't believe how well they took care of us. Everywhere we went, it was beautiful. And families, my one friend, I lost Mike Wacola. His brother took Mike's two children to England, and they took him on a motorcycle ride around the country. And to this day, him and I always talk to each other. And he was a retired captain also, his brother. But it just goes on, you know, and it's beautiful to know that there's people out here. And it's been mentioned a couple of times today, you know, let's start going forward again, you know. In that picture you've seen of us in Nantucket, I have my one nephew with me, Robert, who had an Army shirt on. I don't know if you saw him. Because of 9/11, he ended up going in the Army. He graduated from boot camp on 9/11/01. My sister-in-law and brother-in-law were on a plane. We didn't know where they were. And they were going to his graduation boot camp in Texas. And he wanted to do that because he couldn't handle college. So one of the requirements to get on the fire department is you could do college or 2 years in the military. So he chose the military because it was easier than college. But I don't think he felt like that when he was sent to Iraq for 18 months. But he has grown, become a real man. He's got 3 years on the fire department now. And that's the point I want to get across. I have young kids who are 20, 22, 25, and they're strong. They're strong. They've lived through 9/11. They know what it's all about. They shouldn't be discounted for like, oh, they're the young generation, whatever. I hear them speak together when they get together, and I hear them talking. And, you know, they know what's going on. But they need people like the Rotarians, that senior people who've been around, who can wean them along, you know, and I feel it's very important. And, you know, we went out there, had a Nantucket, Sue and I, and Sandy Knox Johnson was the woman. She's in one of the pictures that met us there, and it was a great time. I mean, I went going through papers when Helen called me a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, man, I forgot how much that was. And it was the truth. It was the first time I slept. I couldn't sleep. I was all over the place. And the funny story I'll tell it, I'll close with this, is I got hurt at 9/11. You know, broken neck. I've had a couple surgeries, shoulder stuff and all that. And so I'm on light duty, but I wanted to still go to work. I didn't want to just sit around my house. I could have stayed home, but I was like, listen, I got to do something. And I would go to an office. They had me in an office. And one day the chief comes over and goes, hey, Ryan, next Tuesday, put on your Class A's and you're going to the Princeton Club on 43rd Street. Meet these people from the Rotary and, you know, see what it's all about. So then I walk in that day. I come up here. I'm walking to the Princeton Club where the meeting used to be, and Helen's there. And I said, hi, I'm Lieutenant Ryan. The fire department sent me here to represent them and find out what this was all about. She goes, only a lieutenant? They couldn't send the chief? I said, you know, the fire department's kind of busy now. You got to take what you get. But that's how our relationship started. And we hit it off right away, her and I. It was unbelievable. And like I said in the video, I just was connecting dots. You know, they had all these resources and they wanted to do good. And they didn't know how to get to the fire department. You know, the city was a mess. The mayor's office was a mess. Downtown headquarters was a mess. So we kind of bypassed all of official, formal stuff, and they were able to get right to the people that they want to deal with. And everything went well. And I want to say thank you, Helen.
Thank you.
I think that after 10 years now, it's our turn to start thanking everybody else that helped us after September 11th, 2001. September 11th, 2001, the fire department was broken, myself also included. That day, like everybody else, lost somebody. I lost 20 personal friends that day. And the firehouse I'm in right now, covering, lost 10. So the last 3 days, we've been dealing with the families, coming back and forth, and with the memorials and the kids growing up. It's been very emotional. And coming here, kind of like, it's given me a little bit of a boost. I want to thank you very much for that. And we will continue to serve New York City, you, our visitors, until the end. We will never, ever give up. And I'd like to make one side note for Mr. Reynolds. I knew your son, Mr. Reynolds, Bruce. I grew up in the same neighborhood, Inwood. I lived on Isham Street. That garden you spoke of, we overlooked it. And I also knew Bruce when he was a parkie in the park before he became a Port Authority. So it's almost like an honor to meet you, sir. Thank you very much.
I wasn't expecting this, but I'm glad to have the opportunity. I'm going to make it a little longer than it should be. I was a member of the Rotary Club in Pleasanton, California. I hadn't had a vacation in 5 years, and it was during 9/11, 6 months after 9/11. And the president said, "Is anyone going to New York in 3 weeks?" I am. And they said, "Would you take the check to the New York Rotary Club?" So I had this $10,000 check I literally kept in my purse, on my lap, the entire trip. I thought I could not lose that check. So I came to the Princeton Club, and I was seated next to Billy Ryan. My dad was a fireman in Arkansas. That's the accent. If you've never been a member of the fire family, it's hard to describe, but it's a huge family, no matter what your accent is. And Billy and I hit it off because he welcomed me into the New York fire family. So every year I sent Billy red, blue, and white flowers on 4th of July because it was about freedom and independence and about our country. And I wanted it to be happy. So sometimes I have to call Sue and Billy to find out where they're going to be so that they don't miss that flowers. But I have a file folder from all the emails and the letters and the cards. That's history from what happened on 9/11. I went to school in New York. I love New York. And when they called and said, "Could you come today?" I'm like, yes, if I could get my reservations. So thank you so much for letting me be a part of this. God bless you.
Of meeting Trent Love just recently when he sent me an email asking if he could come to our Remembrance Day to conduct a special little ceremony in honor of those who were affected as a result of 9/11. Then I learned that he himself was a first responder, transporting steel workers to Ground Zero, and also in charge of security and law and order, having been in the military police corps as an Army captain. Trent has received the New York State Liberty Award for his 9/11 involvement, the Global War on Terrorism Award for his services in Iraq. He ran off to Iraq as a result of 9/11, and the Presidential Unit Citation. As an award-winning TV producer, he has a program called Vets Chat, where he talks and chats with veterans, mostly about post-traumatic stress. He's an advocate for those suffering from post-traumatic stress, as he does. His mission being to spread awareness in the community. He's a wonderful, wonderful person. And right now, he's going to conduct a special ceremony.
Below in front of me is a ledge filled with symbolism meant to honor the innocent victims of 9/11, as well as those who responded to our nation's call to duty and are not here with us today. Although they are not physically present, I believe that they are here with us in spirit.